Hey, everybody. How are
Hey
you
there.
doing tonight?
Good.
How you doing?
This is
Hi.
Julie.
Hi, Curtis. Kurt.
How you doing? Curtis, it's fine.
Okay. Hi, Julie. We can't see you. Are you able to hear us or talk?
I'm trying to talk. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Okay,
I hear you anyway.
my webcam. Remember, I had problems last time too. I think I just need a new laptop.
I found out one of the ways to fix that.
Okay.
If you're having trouble with your webcam or your audio not working, if you call the help desk, they are able to actually go in and, with your permission, take over your computer remotely, and they can look at all the settings and see if they can fix it for you.
Okay, I'll do that for the next one for sure.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay.
I just know that I know Brenda had a lot of trouble with hers, and she and I were not able to get it to work. And so I asked a couple people in my department to see if anybody had any ideas on what to do, because she wasn't able to like screen share or anything for me to see. And that's what they said, was to call the help desk, and because they are able to remotely take over it, it can work with that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate you guys all showing up on Super Bowl night. I do not. Okay, Steelers aren't in it, so therefore I don't really care. You know, I don't want Cam Newton to win, but, you know, I don't really like the Broncos either, so that wasn't a big deal for me, but I thought it was at 8 o'clock anyway, and we'd be done by then. So that's why I picked 7. So we will get through the required criteria here and get you guys out of here, and then I can see if anybody needs help with the next stuff. I also set the next meeting on Monday night. I know that's not the greatest time for some people, but the augmented learning section was the worst for people last semester. They didn't know what to do with the QR codes. They weren't sure how to work with QR codes, or if they were trying the Erasmus or the Layer products or whatever, they were really struggling and to figure out a topic, to get it to work, whatever. So I thought if we did it on Monday night, then I can individually work with people all week long if they need to, but that would help you guys get started on that. So that was my intention with it. And I know it's back to back. All right, so this week we had to read on creativity and think about creativity while you were working. So there are 3 questions that I asked you to think about while you were kind of getting ready for tonight. And the first one of those was, what is the importance of creativity in learning? So I'm going to open it up to you guys and see what you think about creativity in learning.
I guess I'll go ahead and start.
Okay.
No, it has to do a lot, I noticed, with like differentiation. Like one of the things we were reading was about how just giving different options for assignments, and, you know, write a poem or create a play or just write a summary or draw a picture. And I think that's important to let those kids, you know, see what they like to do best, and not me telling them what they have to do.
Does anybody have anything to add to that?
I also found that for me, my students get tired if we do the exact same stuff over and over again. And so it's also an engagement thing. And so it's a ways of getting them information that it's not me just giving them a PowerPoint slide or whatever. And so like if they're able to take a little bit more part in that, then they're going to learn it as well. And so like kind of spreading things out so it's not the same thing every single day.
Okay. Do any of you others have anything to add to that? Go ahead. Serena, aren't you with music?
No.
No? Wrong one. Wrong class. I have two Serenas actually this semester, one in each class. So the other one must be the music person. What do you think about?
I'm sorry. I was just going to agree that it's really hard for, especially for science, to do creative stuff. But I think the video, and I was messing with Screencast with the Office Mix, and I thought it was great. I've never messed with it before, and I'm definitely going to be incorporating it a lot more in my classes. So I thought it was great.
I think that sometimes whenever you have, like in Pennsylvania, biology is a tested subject, whereas chemistry is not. And so I had a lot more leeway and a lot of those things to let them be creative and not have to worry about covering all of those objectives, which I think is something that the biology people do struggle with that I've worked with in the past. But I have to definitely agree with the three of you that have spoken. The differentiating, trying to figure out different ways for them to do it, whether, say, as you said, writing a paragraph, or whether it's letting them maybe speak it audio, kind of making a podcast for it, or creating a PowerPoint that covers the basic topics. Sometimes those are easy things that gives you resources. And once the kids get the hang of making the videos or doing an audio something, they can do it in like 30 seconds flat. Honestly, they are so fast, especially if you let them use their phones. They can just talk into their phone and do it, or like, selfie video a little bit to speak whatever they're trying to talk about. It really can open up a lot of doors for kids that typically won't speak in class, or ones that just hate worksheets and that kind of thing. It gives them a lot more freedom with that. Does anyone else want to add to that part of the conversation about?
I actually, really quick, have a question, because I mean, like my students, and I don't know how much Snapchat is being used outside of Baltimore City, but my students are constantly on Snapchat. I mean, in the middle of a class. Is there a way of accessing that to use that in a classroom setting?
From what I have seen, as a teacher, I do not think I would want to try to harness Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
The simple reason that it can go bad so quickly.
Yeah.
I don't want the liability of being on with that. But the taking the pictures of themselves and doing things, I think that has a lot of power, because as the students, especially if you are having them do something in class and as they're doing it, they're taking pictures, there's a lot of power in having the students envision themselves as a scientist or as a historian or something like that. So if you have them researching something or doing a lab procedure or whatever and taking pictures of themselves doing it, it actually does add to their identity as a student, identity as a scientist, and they're showing actually a lot of power with the student taking pictures with that. So with Snapchat, because it can be so anonymous and because the pictures can be occasionally improper, I would be really careful walking with that. Like my district that I've worked with and the other 4 that are in the area that I've worked with, there's no way that that would have been. In fact, some of the people, one of the districts locally to me in Pennsylvania just forbid any of their teachers from having a student on their Facebook, even if they are like a nephew or a niece.
Oh, wow.
In that district, they are not allowed to be on their Facebook because of issues that they've had.
Yeah.
So I would be really careful with, if you're going to have something like that, I would be really careful to differentiate it as this is History 101 Snapchat, and I would still walk real careful.
Okay.
But any of the other photographic things, like using Instagram, using Pinterest with the pictures, and having them do that, any Flickr, using the photographs like that, I think that they would be, especially Instagram, you could have a whole Instagram channel for your classroom that they could post them on there, and as long as you have the privileges to moderate them, that might be a fantastic resource for them.
I just want to comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I know that as far as creativity in my classroom, my students, because we were doing the landscapes on this week assignment, and so, my students have been working with me as I've been working in this course, and they had an opportunity to make the infographic after seeing mine on my butterfly life cycle, and they made an infographic on the landforms, and they were very engaged. And I think by having them make it there with their small groups, the information is more concrete. It's 6 of them, and we had our quiz this past Friday, and I had 80% of them pass with an A or higher. And I think because they were in charge of their own learning, because we went over how to cite, how to do citations, and what information to find, and the Creative Commons search made it so much easier. So they were so excited, and they're like, "Oh, Miss Keller, you're in class. This is so fun." So I think it's fun because they're learning what I'm learning, and it just makes them independent learners, and I get to sit back and help assist while they teach themselves and others.
Yeah. I have to say that whenever I was going through my master's, which I did online through Penn State, and then I did my PhD through them as well, and I will say when I told the kids, hey, I am learning this thing, let's try it and see if, you know, it works with us or not, the kids were so willing to like dig into it and really try new things, and it really helped me out a lot with testing out things that maybe I wanted to do for the dissertation or whatever, and it helped them be engaged. And I think seeing what adults actually learn too, we don't know it all, I think is a great perspective that you were just mentioning. Okay, so let's move on to the second question, unless somebody else has more to add. No? Okay. So how do you, or how can you, or do you use technology to support creativity in your classroom or work setting? I think we have worked a little bit with, or talked a little bit with this. Is there anything in the past that you have found that has really engaged your students as to use their creativity while they're learning, or another technology that we haven't touched on that you think really could spark some creativity in a classroom?
I think that this technology that we're doing is more hands-on, and the technology I've done in the past, like my Prodigy, where it focuses on the math. The students are able to do problems with Prodigy. It looks like, what is that, Minecraft. It looks like they're playing Minecraft. And I laugh because, oh, we're playing a game. No, you're doing math. But the only way you can blast and earn superpowers is by answering the math questions correctly. Mm-hmm. And then I do Write About. Write About, I love it. Write About is an app where, because images promote creativity. And so I think that I have not touched this type of technology where it's more visual, more hands-on, more things that they are actually curated, opposed to PowerPoints, opposed to slides. So I haven't before, and I'm happy I'm learning something new.
Good, good. Anybody else want to add to that?
I was going to say, right now we're doing a History Day project, and so my kids are doing the websites, and they're really getting into the website and putting videos in and different things. We have to work on citation, but so we like the use of websites, and so my students have kind of asked if like to have kind of a class website that they could do things, where we could add things in there. And so I was looking at doing that as well. But so we like the websites seem to be really popular with the kids. It's something they're enjoying doing.
Wikispaces is pretty nice for giving them a class website that they can post things onto, because you can add them into it, whether you do the old version or the classroom version. You can add them in and you can track who's doing what. It'll give you a little bit of control without having to approve every single thing that they do. And it's fairly easy to learn. I mean, it's no harder than the blog posting that you guys are doing right now. It's just a big editor, and it allows you to post files, pictures, all kinds of things like that. So that's something maybe you'd want to try if you want to see how they handle the wiki spaces. There's all kinds of wiki products. There's PBWiki and PBWorks and a couple other ones, but I think Wikispaces, in my opinion, and I saw Curtis nodding, it's about the most user-friendly and about the most teacher-friendly. And the thing I love about it, if you use the classroom side of it, is when you put the kids in and have them working, you can look actually in some of the analytics somewhere, but you can follow along and you can see, like, this person's been on the same page for 3 minutes. This person's actually editing. You can actually look at a snapshot of your class and see who's working and who's not. And you can say, what are you doing over there? Are you trying to, put your piece together on a Word document to put into there, or what are you doing? Because you haven't moved off that page. And then they look at you like you're some kind of higher omniscient power, because you haven't even moved from your desk, and you can tell that they're not doing anything over there. And it does help them keep on target a little bit better too. Has anyone else had anything interesting that they've worked with?
I've worked with, I like Google. However, it's always blocked in my district. But I really like when the kids have an account, they can log in, but they can't sign up for an account in the school, which is difficult. But I have some students that have accounts, and they've been working with it together, like they do Google Slides. I also use Publisher, some Office to make brochures and such. But some of the stuff that we've went through, like infographics, I think are great. I'm actually going to be using that for one of my astronomy projects I normally have them do a poster for an astronomer. I'm going to have them actually do a infographic instead this time. So I'm really excited about what we're incorporating in this class to use in the classroom.
Hey, Curtis, I don't know if this would help you with Google Slides. I teach 4th grade, and when we used it, obviously they can't sign up with email addresses when they're 9, but I would create it and then just share the link out.
And I've done that too before. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, and I'm so jealous of all you guys. I have laptops seriously 45 minutes a day. So it is very difficult to actually follow through with a lot of things that I'm finding. But it would be awesome to use because 30 minutes of those 3 days a week, we have to use this Recess Math program. But my kids also love Prodigy. Oh my gosh, they're addicted to that game.
Prodigy is a favorite.
The one that you said was the Minecraft-ish.
Yes,
right?
it's prodigygame.com, I think. It's, yeah. You can assign things and you can check the progress and reports, and it's all free.
It has tons of data, yes.
Yeah.
I have a friend who is a special ed teacher for her students are mostly 9th and 10th grade, and she just asked me the other day if I knew anything that was a drill and practice math kind of thing that would be fun for the kids to work on. They're so far behind in some of their things because of their histories and their individual
Learning level.
needs and that. So
Yeah, you can choose grade levels too, so it's very specific. It's cool.
pass that along tonight. I'll email her out that tonight. The other thing with the web addresses, Curtis, if you're working in class and like most of the kids have them, but one's missing, you can actually use your email address and do like, if your email is curtisdavis@gmail.com, you can do curtisdavis dot whatever the kid's name @gmail.com, and it'll filter through your Gmail, but it gives them a link to get into the account.
Okay.
And you can change their name with that because Gmail's a little. I think we were able to do like 8 or 9 of those at a time, and then we would have to switch to a different email address. I probably have 50 email addresses from trying to get kids signed up for things over the years. But
Okay, I'll try that.
yeah, so I'll see if I can find
If the kids have,
Go ahead.
I would say, because my kids, we just use our school email address for my Google Classroom, and they didn't have to make up a Google. Well, I guess they did because it's school, because we have Chromebooks. So automatically they have email addresses through the school district, and it just makes life easier. So then you can have Google Classroom where you can post assignments, post links. It's just easier for the younger kids, other than having to go to Google and look for the links. You can just post it all in the classroom.
It depends on how your district sets things up. Whether they allow you to do that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I do realize that. Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add? I know that we haven't said a whole lot. Do you have any technology or any ideas for increasing the activity in your classroom?
I've liked a couple of the things that we've done. My students are on basically
Hi, Megan.
2020 all day, every day. So that's where they do all of their stuff. So we don't do a lot of other activities.
Yeah.
Huh?
I remember now what you do. Yeah, you have a unique situation when it comes to things.
But I liked this video, the Powtoon video that we had to make this week. I think students would get a kick out of that, and that would be something that I could have them do and give them credit for working outside of E2020, and it would be something fun and different for them to do. Again, I like a lot of the stuff that we're doing in class, and I think my students would too.
You almost have to plan for a different, some of the time for a classroom where you have a little bit more autonomy in it instead of just having to kind of, help them out a little bit as they walk through everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so the third question then is, how do you assess or evaluate creativity, or do you?
So far, I haven't yet used assessments on this type of projects that we've been doing with you all in my classroom, because I want it to just be a learning cycle. Mm-hmm. I think that the more that I practice with the material and figure out a rubric for my students, I'll be able to assess next year. I'm just going to be using the same information. As right now, I just give credit if they put the required information on the topic that we're covering in citation. I guess I do have a little rubric.
Does anybody else have a way that they use creativity as something to assess in their classroom? Or do you encourage it?
Sorry, I teach choir. So creativity is a large portion of my class. So a lot of their grade is effort-based, because the hard part with creativity is that what I may deem creative in my respect may not be the same as what they're capable of doing. And you have to be very, I feel like, sensitive. So I always do it based on effort with them, rather than everybody, you know, I don't have everybody the same standard with creativity. You just can't. So it's case by case. So like if the students perform, let's say we do like a solo day, then they all get assessed differently, or according to their own abilities. Like one time we made a Glogster poster, and some of them are more fluent with technology than others, so it was assessed as they're capable of doing. Of course, they had a rubric. Creativity was left more open-ended.
Does anyone else have does anyone else even measure creativity as a part of your assignments in the classroom?
I will put it on, like, it's a very small part of the rubric that I will give a student, and I definitely am looking more at, do they know the information? You know, because I mean, obviously, regardless of what we're doing, we want to make sure that they know that, and whatnot. And because I am probably one of the least creative people myself, and so I know how that struggle is, because creating that video was driving me crazy, because I have this perfectionist tendency, and then I have no creativity, and so the video was just like, yeah, it was just a battle between the two. And so like, I'm a little bit more mindful of my students in that aspect. You know, I mean, so like, even if I've made them draw or whatever, I tell them right off the bat, I'm not expecting a Monet, or, you know, a Picasso when you're making something for me. So if you're putting in the amount of effort and it shows that you at least attempted it, then typically you're going to get your points. So I'm kind of, so I'm a little bit more lenient on that as well.
Sorry, I forgot to ask my daughter to take food out of the oven, so I will say that I am a very, very poor artist. So when you're saying about not being creative in that way, like I tell the kids all the time, my stick figures are mutilated. They look like this, you know, they have no, and if I'm drawing a circle or I'm drawing something else, they're always like, is that a car or a top hat? I taught physics for a while too. So I do understand that. What I always tried to use as a guide for creativity in the classroom would be the rubric gets you to this point, which is like, 95 out of 100 or something like that. Because I think if your rubric is all the points that they're possible to get, then that leaves them no space to go above and beyond. But if they are willing to go above and beyond, kind of like you said with the effort, and try to make something that is better than what it does, or has a unique idea, or has a way of putting things together that has not been something that I've seen before, then that would give them their extra points. But yeah, going above and beyond to trying a different format, writing a sonnet about Mendeleev and his periodic trends was pretty fantastic, but then having his friend come in and play guitar while they sang it in front of the class, and they were not good singers, was really fantastic. And I think if you can get the kids to buy into the fact that creativity is allowed and expected, then sometimes they're going to really surprise you with what they're willing to put in on it and what they're willing to do with it, as long as they're covering the base material that you do need to have them do. So, does anyone else want to share anything about that?
I just want to add that I like to use rubrics as well, especially when I'm doing a project like this. But creativity in that aspect, as long as they hit certain points of the rubric that I expect them to have, I'm lenient on how, if I had them draw something or whatever, because I'm not an artist either, so I don't want to dock points because it's worse than what I would do. If they try their effort, and you could tell if they're putting effort in or not. And that's how I work it. It's kind of a judgment for me.
How about anyone else? Do you have anything you want to share with us?
I actually really liked what you said about only having the rubric do like 95%, and then the students, the creativity and stuff can be another 5%. I've actually never thought of it like that, and I actually think that's a really good idea. So I think that's something that I'm going to start doing.
Sharika or Julie, do you have anything you want to add with this?
Like with the rubrics, and I've never really added the creativity as like a big portion of it. It's really recommended and you look for it, but pretty much what everyone was saying about the effort. And I agree with Serena when you said about going to 95. Like, that's a great idea. So thanks for sharing.
Oh, I will tell you, it makes them mad, especially your A game, like A number 1 students. It infuriates them. They want to know exactly what they have to do to get that grade, and they don't want to have some fuzzy little thing that's in that they have to do the effort. It really irritates them at times. So be prepared for that kind of pushback. But other than that, I think it does work fairly well most of the time. So does anyone else have anything they want to share? Okay, we've actually covered all 3 of the questions, I think, very well tonight. And I really appreciate you giving me your 30 minutes or whatever it is tonight on Super Bowl night, whenever there's 5 million other things going on. And I know that you're getting ready for the week ahead and trying to finish your grading and your lesson plans and all of that. I do really appreciate the time that you're willing to dedicate to the class and to especially do things like this. Like I said in the email, first class I taught, I didn't have any of these until people complained. And then there were probably, out of the 24 people in the class, probably 19 of them were like, we need face-to-face sessions. This doesn't feel like a real class. This is okay, so I'll put it in. But I'm trying to make it as non-intrusive in your life as possible. And for those of you that have come along with me every week, I think I'm getting better at facilitating these to get real learning and stuff accomplished in this real quick amount of time. Some of you have been here every week, so yeah, I'm getting much better at running the synchronous sessions as well. So at least I hope so. If anyone wants to stick around and get some help with anything, or talk through ideas on this week's lesson, or things like that, or for next week, everyone else, if you have any other questions, stick around. If you don't, you are welcome to sign out and get on with your life. But if you want some help or want to talk through some things, you can just stick around. And if we run out of time in about 10 minutes, we can switch to the second link for the help. Okay?
Have a good evening.
Have a great night. This has been really nice. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You said that you were going to post the link from last week's video. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, it's posted in week 3. At the
Okay.
very bottom, the link is posted. Well, it should be. I dumped it into a YouTube and then I posted it in there. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, but I will double check and make sure.
In the course material or in the announcement?
It should be in course material because announcements won't let me load a video very well. It should be in week 3.
Okay.
I'm double checking now to make sure that I did do what I said I did.
Yeah, I just got it too.
It's clear at the bottom. It's under recording of the Zoom meeting for week 3, like the very
Okay.
last thing. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the rest of my Sundays and weeks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's crazy
Mhm.
busy. So I'm gonna do that really quick, and then
Yeah.
this. So yeah, so I'm
you showed up last week. You showed up last week, and you showed up this week. I'm fine with that.
okay.
And you're
Oh,
already,
I figured
you're already like skyrocketing ahead of everybody. You have the AR assignment done, and all of that. So I think I have all the tweaks. Done. I'm up to week 8. So if you hit week 8 yet, I am not done tweaking it. But
Yeah, no, I'm still on 6, so we're good.
okay. So I've been trying to, like, week 6 I think is concept maps, and it's an easy one, I think. And then the
Yeah.
next one is evaluating, which if you're familiar with like rubric generation and that, it's not hard either. And you might actually really like the tool. But I'm trying to pare down the reading and make sure that I could give you a focused way to get through some of it, because there are people that said they were doing way over 15 hours trying to struggle with all of this. So, yeah. And don't consider yourself not creative, because honestly, your Powtoon was so cute and clever, and you being willing to tackle that instead of just doing a screencast is impressive, because a lot of people will put up a PowerPoint and talk themselves through a screencast, and that's all they do for it. So
I shared it with one of my friends because I was telling her, and I mean, I'm just like, I have been on this thing for like 7.5 hours, and I feel like it sucks.
Oh.
So I sent it to her, and she's like, no, it's really good, and I'm still watching it, and I'm like, no, this is really horrible.
You're just way too hard on yourself.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I really am.
so,
and I know that. I had to pull back, but yeah.
right. But so, like, kind of consider it. This is the rubric stuff. I've met these requirements. It's long enough. I have these elements in it. I'm done. It meets the goal of my class. Whether all of the, characters are standing on the ground or floating 6 inches in the air is not a problem. So yeah, just don't be so hard on yourself with it, because and honestly, the way that you think through these things and the way you approach your projects and that shows a lot of creativity. Whereas someone that was not creative, I would definitely be seeing the PowerPoints and things like that. So, give yourself some credit with that too. I mean, just because you can't draw doesn't mean you're not creative. There's a lot of ways to be creative, just thinking through how you approach the problems. And that's a great kind of creativity that's really intangible in comparison to like somebody that can draw a beautiful drawing or paint a painting or sculpt something. I mean, that's something you can see. And the kind of creativity that you're showing with these and how you're tweaking the assignments to meet your needs, that's giving you need to give yourself credit for that too. So,
I debated about actually using the QR in my classrooms because my African American history classes are a little crazy. And I've decided, I'm like, you know what? They need something different. And I'm like, it can flop and I will let it flop if that's what it is. But I'm like, no, they're going to do the QR because I actually want to see, I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do is tell the kids, hey, I have an assignment for this class that I'm taking and we're going to try it out in class. And I want you to do this assignment and whatever, and then have them write you a paragraph about it. Like reflection. This is what I thought about this. This is what I think you should do better to fix it. And some of those kids are really, even the crazy ones, because I taught general chemistry for the last 6 years. I had that, and my daughter's over there laughing because one of the kids last year was one buckle shy of being in a complete jacket. He was I'm laughing. But I mean, it was complete chaos and complete Zeus sometimes. But the things that those kids were willing to do whenever they thought I was trusting them with my classwork and things like that, it really gave them a sense of, like you said before, of ownership of their learning, or somebody said tonight, ownership of their learning to start with, but also some real power because they're kind of grading you on it. And I mean, I don't know who your kids are or what they're like, but I know that there are some zoo kids that once you give them that kind of power into your life, they really use it to your advantage. So I'll be waiting. Let me know how it goes because I'll be excited to hear how that went in class.
Yeah, I think it's happening either Tuesday or Thursday this week.
Oh, awesome.
We have AB days and this year. And so, so it's just my one class that I trust the most with this assignment is they're behind my other class. So we'll see. But having them write a paragraph, because I was thinking, I'm like, I really want them to give me feedback on how they liked it and whatnot. But yeah, because I really, when I saw the assignment, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like ridiculous. And I'm thinking who's ever, and I mean, once I got into it, I'm thinking, oh man, this is like actually really cool. And so I'm like sending it to my sister. I'm like, check the links and make sure that they work. And what do you think? So I got really excited about this assignment. So I'm like,
good.
So you're like talking about like everyone kind of, I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't know. Like this was probably one of the,
That's
so I'm just
great.
like, this is up my alley.
That's great. I liked using them. I used to have the kids do like little postcards for different elements, and we had them put QR codes on the front of them last year and then link them to a class webpage, like Wikispaces kind of page, where they could put all their information and a picture of what their card looked like, because then once they're stapled on the wall, oh, it's gonna kick us out of here. So
Yeah.
just say, once they're stapled on the wall, you can't flip them over and read the back. So that way they can access all the information. But having the kids create QR codes too is sometimes really fun, especially for like
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's something that I definitely want to have them do in the near future as well. So yeah, so like I said, I really am enjoying a lot of the technology. So
Oh, awesome. Great.
if I don't learn anything, like I mean, and honestly, that's kind of why I went into this field or into this master's, is because I really wanted to learn how to use some of these and what the new technology is and how to use it in the classroom. So
I'm telling you, we are
beyond
not
that,
getting,
but as long as I get new ideas, I'm good. So
well, the AR and the QR codes is probably the newest stuff we are doing, because people are really struggling with some of the other things as it is. Like some people are not very stepped ahead in the technology, but yeah, this gets you at least started, and then you can start like looking and going, and yeah. So anyway, it's going to kick us off. So you
All
have
right,
a really
thank you.
great evening, and thanks for showing up. And that counts as your second one, so you're in good shape.
Great, thank you.
Well, bye bye.